Hello, my name's Roger and I work for Line Equipment and we are the distributor for Optimus in the UK. So I'm going to show you now some features of gas stoves so that it will help you with your decision making. But first of all, I'm going to start off by taking a fire lighter, popping it in a pan and pouring some water on it. Shake it around a bit, pour the water back. I'm just going to leave that out there because we're going to use that to light the stoves. I've got 3 stoves here. This is a very small compact one, which is nice being small and compact, but that brings pros and cons. We've got a medium-sized one, and then we've got another one here where the stove is inside the pan and I have the gas separate there. So, starting with the small one. I have got here a mesh bag with it, the gas canister, the pan set, and in here is the stove. This is the crux light and the pan set is the solo set. Firstly, with the stove, the handle there folds out and then I close it down completely. To fold the handles away in all of these stoves, you ease them off a touch because that takes the pressure off the gasket inside and helps the product to last longer, to have a longer life for you. Because if it's always closed down with the gasket compressed, then it's just not going to last as long. So I make sure that's closed and pop that on. And you'll notice on the burner head that there are legs that fold out so that this stove can be used with a variety of different pans and larger pans. Now it's quite a small gas canister to fit in the small pan set. That small gas canister does mean that you end up with a fairly tall, narrow cooker. This second set, I have got a windshield there for it, and inside here, and it doesn't rattle around, which is very nice. When you're walking and the stove rattles around in your pan, it can get a bit annoying. This is the gas, a larger gas canister, and in here, in the base, tucked away very neatly, is the stove itself. So the stove comes out, pops up like that, legs come out, close it down, and I pop it onto the gas canister. Just to reiterate, everything fitted inside this pan here. That there has a larger base, therefore more stable, and this pan has a heat exchanger in the base here. I would advise anybody, wherever possible, to have a heat exchanger because it saves so much fuel and money and it saves weight of fuel to be carried. And then that is that set there. Our third one here, this is the stove in here, and this stove comes complete with a windshield as well, which I'm not going to put out because with the camera obviously it's very hard for you to see things if I put the windshield around it. And this stove, I open up the legs and pop the gas canister on the end here. Now there is a slight problem that you can have as a consumer with gas stoves in cold conditions. Gas is generally not recommended for the colder conditions because what's inside the canister is a liquid and it takes a bit of heat to turn it into a gas to feed into here. Now if it's really cold outside, if it's in winter, then that liquid doesn't turn into a gas very efficiently and you don't get a very good burn. But we do have an answer for that. Quick overview for the moment. Very compact, not very stable. More expensive to run, smaller gas canisters. This one here, more stable, bigger gas canister, more economic. Heat exchanger, so it's actually going to take less gas to heat the same amount of water. This one here, you can see that it's very low down, way more stable. You can put bigger pans on this. And the design of this particular stove, and please, very important to note, it applies to this stove and this stove only. You may come across other stoves that look similar but don't have the feature I'm about to show. With this stove, you ignite it, then you turn the gas over and it becomes a liquid feed. On the stove head itself, there's a piece of pipe here that comes across the top of the burner, and so the liquid coming out of here turns into a gas in this part of the pipe and then burns there. What that does is it means that you can use this in the coldest of conditions. So if you're out in late autumn, early spring, through the winter, here's a gas stove that you can use in those conditions, igniting it that way up and then turning the gas over once it's lit and running it that way. Okay, so let's light the stove. So you saw me throw this into the water earlier. If you do that with matches and a lighter, it's not going to work too well, and that's sparking. I'll switch the gas on. And I like this. If you heard what I said, which is light it with the gas that way up as a gas and then turn it over, and what I did just then was I actually had a liquid feed. And so you can see then exactly what happens with a liquid feed. So I'm just going to pop the water on there, leave that for a minute, and demonstrate that again with this stove. So this is a straight gas fed stove, and that's lit. Okay, a little bit of a safety thing here. That is burning as gas. If I were to flip this over, if this were to become unstable and it fell over, then it would be the liquid in here coming through it. And I'm just going to show you what can happen in that case. If I shake this, we'll start to get liquid feed through here, and that's what happens. That information really becomes more relevant as you get to the smaller stoves and the more compact stoves. Be aware when you purchase a compact, lightweight stove, it is less stable. If you put a larger pan on it, it's even more unstable, and the chances of it flipping over are greater. It's top heavy. So just looking at these again, nice and low down, runs in winter. You can run it on big canisters. Very efficient. This one here tucks away inside a small pan set, runs on a reasonable sized gas canister here. And the smallest set, very compact, really nice to carry, but just be aware when you're using it that you want to make sure that it's on some nice level ground and it's not going to topple over and become a liquid feed and do that.